Yo, you seen these numbers? On paper, Gemini 3.1 is a total beast, absolutely crushing benchmarks like they're nothing. 94% on tests, all that hype. But in the real world, devs on Reddit are already losing it because waiting for that first token takes longer than brewing a damn coffee. Today, we're breaking it down. Is this the new AI king or just an overhyped lagfest with a massive thinking tax? Let's dive in.
In February and March of 2026, Google unleashed a massive corporate PR wave for its newest model, Gemini 3.1 Pro. The message was clear. They had built the smartest AI in the world. These towering bar charts showed Gemini 3.1 dwarfing competitors on major spec sheet victories. It scored 77.1% on AGI-2, a test measuring complex reasoning and logic capabilities, and hit 94.3% on GPQA Diamond, a benchmark of PhD-level physics, biology, and chemistry questions. On a single attempt, the model reliably solved problems that historically tripped up every other system. But across GitHub issue trackers and developer subreddits, plus for Cell API logs, the reaction is entirely different. People building actual products are reporting constant crashes, broken pipelines, and unexplained lockouts. The exact same engineers praising the model's raw intelligence in one thread are declaring it broken and borderline unusable in the next. A high score on a logic puzzle means very little if the software architecture surrounding the model collapses under normal use. The friction starts with a metric called time to first token, or TTFT. This is the delay between hitting enter and the AI generating its first piece of text, and it dictates the entire rhythm of a developer's workflow. Google hard-coded a strict constraint into Gemini 3.1 Pro, a mandatory reasoning step applied to every single request. Users can limit this thinking phase, but they cannot turn it off. Because the model is forced to think before it speaks, independent tests show developers waiting up to 30 seconds staring at a blinking cursor before a single character appears on screen. This visual equation shows the compounding effect. A standard 50-turn coding sprint, multiplied by 30 seconds of delay, results in 25 minutes of pure dead time per session. This forced reasoning acts as a heavy productivity tax. For engineers who rely on rapid iteration to fix bugs and test ideas, a massive delay destroys the cost-benefit ratio of using the model at all. The software architecture holding Gemini together fractured openly on March 9th. This flowchart shows Google silently redirecting Gemini 3 Pro model IDs straight into the 3.1 pipeline. Bypassing the deprecation window gave developers zero warning. Live production code immediately slammed into the new infrastructure. Applications returned a flood of not found messages and 400 errors. The disruption revealed a fragile tool calling pipeline. Gemini 3.1 enforces strict, undocumented sequencing rules for how functions interact, causing major developer frameworks to intermittently fail. To make matters worse, follow-up turns during multi-step prompts began failing silently. The system would process the request and simply return a completely empty response. Constant integration errors prove the AI's surrounding API wrapper is extremely brittle. Being technically correct at coding means nothing if the protocol delivering that code is a product engineering failure. The model also suffers from severe imbalances in its cognitive skills. It dominates complex coding puzzles, but consistently fails to write comprehensive project plans, routinely skipping edge cases and nuance even when explicitly asked for detail. This scatterplot shows how those failures correlate with the data. While Gemini scores incredibly high on pure logic tests, it performs shockingly low on the GDP Vela metric, a benchmark specifically designed to measure expert-level, real-world task execution. The friction extends to the model's safety and user experience filters, which operate with perceived randomness. A prompt will get blocked for safety reasons on the first try, only to succeed when submitted a second time. This inconsistency leaves users completely confused about whether their rejected requests are still burning tokens, the basic units of data the AI processes and charges for. Developers experience safety and capability as consistency, not as abstract corporate scores. When the rules change from prompt to prompt, relying on Gemini 3.1 actually feels like rolling loaded dice. Evaluating an AI exclusively by sterile, single-attempt benchmark pass rates is no longer viable. The reality of production requires a different set of standards. First, Google must implement a true fast-first token escape hatch. Developers who prioritize speed over deep reasoning need the ability to turn the thinking phase entirely off. Second, they need to release a tool call compatibility test suite. This prevents third-party frameworks from mysteriously breaking against undocumented sequencing rules. Third, the model needs a declarative report mode, a strict setting that forces the AI to generate deep, long-form output for critical planning documents instead of short summaries. Finally, this interface mockup shows the transparency developers need, a quota dashboard that stops silent model swaps and clearly separates the tokens used for thinking from the tokens used for actual output. Benchmarks only represent a model's theoretical ceiling. It is the user experience and structural reliability that dictate its actual floor. Until Google raises its abysmal user experience floor to meet its high IQ ceiling, Gemini 3.1 remains an impractical powerhouse that cannot be trusted in production.
Bottom line, it's a lion on paper. But in reality, you're stuck waiting 30 seconds for every single prompt. Drop a comment. Are you down to wait half a minute for a genius response, or is speed everything to you? And go measure your TTFT. Let's see how the real numbers stack up against what Google is trying to sell us. Subbing is based. A like is good karma. Respect, I'm out.